Wedding bells rang in Blois on the 19th of October, 1505, announcing the union of a 17-year-old lady-in-waiting to the Queen of France and the 53-year-old King of Aragon. The young and beautiful confidant of the Queen now donned a crown herself, and in a twist of fate, she became the wife of her own grandfather. This is the story of Germain de Foix, whose destiny intertwined with Ferdinand II. Here's how it all unfolded. She was far from a poor maid from a shabby noble family who rose to the heights of power. Oh no, Germain could take pride in her lineage. She was the granddaughter of King Louis XII of France and the granddaughter of King Ferdinand II of Aragon. To be precise, she was Ferdinand's great-niece. The reason for this is that the King of Aragon and Germain's grandmother were siblings. It was precisely for this reason that Ferdinand, contemplating a second marriage, remembered his young relative. The marriage to Germain was not conceived out of the king's infatuation with her large eyes and slender waist. Politics ruled the ball, and the beauty of the bride was merely an added bonus in a dynastic alliance. Germain hailed from the de Foix family and had certain claims to the throne of the Kingdom of Navarre. Ferdinand was eager to expand his territories. The fact that Germain was his great-niece did not deter him in the slightest. Close kinship unions were never uncommon in his family, which ultimately led to the downfall of the Habsburg dynasty. Thus, barely reaching 17, Germaine de Foix was proclaimed Queen of Aragon. In truth, her title could very well have remained nominal. The daughter of Ferdinand and his first wife, Juana, held all the rights to the thrones of both Aragon and Castile. But Ferdinand had no intention of taking a back seat. So when rumors began to circulate on the peninsula about Juana's madness, he was more than happy to support them. He needed neither daughter nor grandson. He intended to rule on his own. There is a well-founded opinion among researchers that the unfortunate Juana did not suffer from any mental disorder. She merely interfered with Ferdinand's plans. Regardless, the young woman was sent to a fortress under lock and key, while her father ruled Aragon alongside his young and beautiful wife. Germaine de Foix had spent several years at the court of Queen and of Brittany for good reason. She was well-mannered and reasonably educated, familiar with how the Queen selected her staff of servants and ladies-in-waiting, and how she entertained guests. Thus, it was easy for her to adapt to her new role in Aragon. Ferdinand was desperate for an heir. He consulted with spiritual advisors, doctors, and even sorcerers. He took various medicines and dubious potions. Yet, years passed, and Queen Germaine still hadn't blessed him with a child. Only in the year 1508 did joyful news reach Aragon. An heir was on the way. One Aragonese de Foix was born in 1509, but sadly passed away just hours later. Disheartened, Ferdinand fell ill from his distress. Meanwhile, the crown of Navarre remained out of reach. Everything that had motivated his marriage to Germain, heirs and land, seemed to be slipping away. It wasn't until 1512 that Ferdinand, under a fabricated pretext, managed to have the legitimate king of Navarre excommunicated and seized part of the territory, using his wife's rights. But Ferdinand was never able to become a father again, and he passed away in 1516. The young widow found herself at a crossroads. She had no rights to the crown of Aragon, and her claims to Navarre were equally tenuous. Should she return to France? Enter a convent? None of these options appealed to Germain. Soon, the legitimate heir to Aragon and Castile arrived, Ferdinand's grandson, Charles V. Upon seeing his grandmother, the young man was left speechless, unaware of how beautiful Germain truly was. They got along well, the new king and the widowed queen. Tournaments and feasts were held in Germain's honor, and she received lavish gifts, her court sparkling with life. But then, trouble struck. Germain became pregnant. The birth of a girl, Isabella, could not be hidden, and everyone knew who the father was. A terrible scandal loomed. To protect Germain's reputation, King Charles began searching for a husband for her. Thus, the quiet and unassuming Margrave of Brandenburg-Ansbach became Germain's second husband. The newlyweds were given governance of Valencia, but it was Germain, not her husband, who truly managed the province. Her decisive actions led to the suppression of a Catalan uprising, and it was Germain who signed the death sentences for the rebels. However, she outlived her second husband as well. The Margrave died in 1525. The third attempt was with the son of the King of Naples, and this marriage too was orchestrated by Charles. It's said that throughout this time, the most tender of relationships continued between him and Germain. The newlyweds settled in Valencia. Germain had no intention of moving to Naples. For another 10 years, she managed the province quite successfully. Yet, neither in her second nor her third marriage did the former queen have any children. Subscribe to my channel and leave comments.